3:06 is the time. You know what that music means. It is time for Coach Carol right here. Cinco de Mayo version of Coach Carol.
I know. How cool is that?
I know, really. And you're sporting your Red Sox shirt.
Go Red Sox.
They're in first place, you know.
It's awesome.
They're in first place by a half game over the Orioles right now.
I'd still be wearing the T-shirt, even if they were in last place.
I know you would. That's the kind of fan you are. That is Coach Carol Phillips. This is Ask Coach Carol. And what is, before we get to our guest, what's new with you?
What's new? Oh, boy, I have been really, really busy working on my wellness program and services. So under my health design company, offering employee wellness programs and really just changing things up so it's out-of-the-box thinking, new and improved. I think a lot of wellness programs are getting a little maybe stale.
Okay. But not yours.
No.
Not yours.
No. So thinking outside the box and really looking at what motivates employees, what resonates with them, and just inspiring them to make small changes, which is huge. So expecting them to make big changes overnight doesn't work. And we're learning by the studies that it doesn't work, proven. And so just making it fun for employees. They instinctively want to take care of themselves, and they want the work site to also be fun, a fun place to be. So their wellness program should mimic that.
Small changes can have a big impact sometimes.
Right,
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, the other challenge is so many companies task their HR manager with also running a wellness program.
Yeah.
And, them finding the time and, it's not exactly their field. So my program partners with them to make their lives easier. So anyways, if people want to learn more, they can go to my website. They can go to AskCoachCarol.com and click on Learn More.
There you go. And we're going to learn more right now.
Oh, I am so excited about our guest today. So I want to talk a little bit about her before I introduce her.
Do we have enough time? I mean, it's only an hour.
It's only an hour. I know. We could talk about this topic for days and days. So I went to Manchester Community College for my degree in exercise science. And one of the first courses I took, Dorene was my instructor. Just an amazing woman, so knowledgeable and so kind, and had her be my advisor also, and remained friends with her after I graduated, and just a very humble person. So let me introduce Dorene. So Dorene Bourque is a professor of exercise science at Manchester Community College, and Dorene's passion for fitness stemmed from her experience as an athlete on the U.S. freestyle ski team, and she's also an expert mountain bike racer.
Wow.
So the thing that I love the most about Dorene is I was working with her because I went to Manchester Community College part-time. Mm-hmm. So it took me 4 years to get my two-year degree. And it wasn't until the week I was graduating that I even found out what a great athlete she was and that she was on the U.S. freestyle ski team. So very humble person, but just so incredibly knowledgeable and talented. So welcome, Dorene.
Thank you.
Great to have you with us.
So glad to have you here.
Get a little bit closer to that microphone. That's all. Okay, that's good. That's good.
Thank you so much for being here. This is going to be a fun hour.
Yes.
So we're going to be talking about the importance of exercise, the exercise science program at Manchester Community College, and how you're expanding. So it's not going to be strictly exercise. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yes. So our program at Manchester Community College, we have actually a 2-year associate's degree program where our students receive, like yourself, an associate's in exercise science. But built into that program, in the first year they join our program, they can become actually a certified personal trainer. So it's great because they're able to start working in the industry before they receive their degree. And our program now is really focused on just what you were talking about. It's really focused on the person, the whole person. And rather than just saying, okay, here comes a client and we're going to go work out and exercise and use that term, we really take a look at the person, we're teaching our students to find out a lot more about that person they're working with. And as you said about small changes, trying to find out what are the barriers for this person, not just looking at what are your goals, but what's right now stopping you from being at that goal, for being that person you want to be. What's stopping you from getting there?
That is so important, because when I worked with clients, instead of saying, okay, I'm across the room, figuratively speaking, saying, okay, you're there, you need to be here. Instead, I would go to where they are and figure out, okay, what are your goals? What are your roadblocks? What are your challenges? And how can we just get to the next step and then reevaluate, which is so much more effective.
Yeah, because I think they're coming to the realization themselves, right? Rather than sitting here like me being the instructor saying, this is what you have to do.
Exactly.
They're coming to the realization, well, I would like to, lose this amount of weight. And yeah, this is really why I'm not there. They just really set up their program for themselves right there by defining this is what's stopping me from doing it. And our jobs then become, how do we help them break through this barrier? Whether it's especially, everybody's favorite excuse, right? I don't have the time.
Right. Exactly. And using coach more as a verb and getting away from the drill sergeant mentality, which we know doesn't work. It might work in the short term, but it's not sustainable. And it's not the way people are designed to make change and follow their gut instinct to be active.
Exactly. So our students come out with, when they start this process of taking in that client and really getting to know that client, we call it building rapport with that client. The next step then is we really focus on assessments too. And our assessments aren't just about how much do you weigh, what are your circumference, and what's your body fat,
which everybody hates.
Exactly. Like, who wants to be like poked with or pinched with the
skin calipers?
Yeah, the calipers.
Right.
No,
not so much.
Yeah, my students get mad at me because I kind of yank on them a little bit. But so we teach about movement. And you mentioned the word exercise. Like, do you love that word, exercise?
No.
Right. What do you think of when you hear exercise?
Oh, I don't know. I just think like I don't have time to exercise. That's what I.
The brain starts with the excuses.
I start building them up.
Yeah, you kind of think of what we were saying, kind of that regimented type of routine, where really what we're doing is we're looking at movement. How does that person move? Do they move properly? Because if we put somebody that doesn't move properly into a situation where we're loading them with weight, like if you go into some of the group exercise classes, people just jump in and they're going right full bore. Yay, I'm going. And then they come out and they go, oh, I'm hurting, and they can't move. And,
right.
So their bodies weren't ready to do that type of load. And we teach our students to kind of look at how somebody moves and look at their daily tasks. What are they doing in everyday motions? Is it very linear? Probably not, right? When we move, do we just move in a straight line?
Right, exactly. No. So, yeah, it's so important. And getting back to the baby steps instead of, okay, we're going to really get you moving, and then the next day they're so sore, they don't want to go back to exercising. Or what they're doing is so boring.
Exactly. So we try to relate it to everyday activities that you're doing every day. And even from our athletes to our, I would say, we have students right now that are doing community service. Actually, today was their last day. They did a lot of fun Cinco de Mayo stuff. They had little shakers and balloons, right? So a lot of the movements that we do every day where we push and we pull and we squat and, we twist. So they're adding those type of movements into their activities. And these are older adults in an assisted living facility, actually right down the road here. and they're doing these fun activities with them, and the people don't look at it as exercise. It was fun. It's fun. It's moving is fun.
Well, it's what I say all the time is the number one thing you should do when you're thinking about exercise is choose things that are fun. That should be number one. And, whatever you have done in the past that you don't like doing, don't do. There's a million things you can do.
Yeah.
And so while we're on the subject, if listeners want to go to my website, askcoachcarol.com, and go to my blog posts, there's a blog post on the components of exercise. So you can get some really easy, quick information on, making sure, and we'll talk a little bit about this, making sure you're doing cardio and strength training and balance and that you're stretching. But number one, that it's fun. It needs to be fun.
Yes, and I think that's the main question people ask me is, what's the best exercise to do? And that's, again, where we have to go back to their goals and look at, well, number one, what do you want to do? And most of all, what do you enjoy? Mm-hmm. And we put that in part of our students learn this system called FIT. And they learn how to program people with exercise through this FIT system. And it's frequency, intensity, time, type. And then we put an E at the end for enjoy. Mm-hmm. If they don't enjoy the exercise, are we going to be able to increase the frequency that they do it, or the time that they do it, or the intensity that they do it? Probably not.
Probably not, because they won't be doing it for long.
That's right.
Right, absolutely. That's great information.
No, and it certainly is. And I mean, most people, unfortunately, approach exercise as kind of drudgery, but you have to make it fun. That's the bottom line.
Right, right.
I mean, I enjoy swimming, and that's one of the ways I exercise. But, if it was doing calisthenics or something like that, it might not be as much fun for me. But, I guess everybody has their own comfort level.
And if you enjoy it, your brain's going to tell you to do it again, because we tend to want to do things we find enjoyable. And the list of benefits from exercise it's just endless. It's endless. I mean, there's things we don't even know yet. It's so imperative to have it in our lives every day. And I always tell people something is much better than nothing when it comes to exercise, because the body is very quick to want to be healthy and to get back to health. So, start small, let the ball start rolling, and it'll pick up speed.
Yes, exactly. Because I think a lot of people do have that all or none mentality. Because for so long we were taught, well, the guidelines say you need to exercise 5 days a week for 30 minutes. And reality is, do people have that time to do that?
Right.
And when we start that small steps, you're able to work up to that eventually, and you're doing something you like to do.
And one of the questions I get all the time is it really beneficial for me to exercise 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there throughout the day instead of all at once? And absolutely. That's actually the way we're designed to live, is moving throughout the day. Periods of movement and periods of rest. Obviously not designed to be sitting at a computer all day long, but definitely moving.
No, and a lot of the research show the incredible benefits from doing that, which is really important because, like we were saying, people don't have the time to do that. So just even 1 or 2 minutes a day, and if you have high cholesterol, just getting that blood flowing.
Right, absolutely.
Will help that.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because the other thing I believe is, one of the ways that oxygen gets to all the cells in our bodies is when we're exercising, because we exercise, the heart rate increases, the muscles are asking for more oxygen. And if people don't exercise at all, I think that slowly they're suffocating their own bodies, because the cells are not getting the oxygen they're meant to get on a regular basis.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, I like that. I've never heard it quite put that way before, but it does kind of make sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So then over time, people will slowly have more and more health problems. And, people will be quick to think about when they go for a long walk. You get outside, you get some fresh air. Do you ever come back and not feel better?
Yeah.
You know, your brain always feels better.
Yeah,
and part of that is because, you know, we release those feel-good hormones when we exercise. So that's another thing that's meant to be.
Yeah, and I think people overlook that too. And actually, I think what's really good now is we have a lot of this new technology, which is really cool, like our Fitbits and our watches
Yes.
that we can just download and analyze what we did throughout the day. So it gives us some good incentive and motivation to kind of do a little bit more. And I was just reading that there is one college who actually requires their freshmen to have a Fitbit throughout their freshman year.
That's terrific.
Because they're focusing they're focusing on mind, body, spirit. And of course, in order to your mind to function well, just like you were saying, all the studies show that exercise increases your brain activity. You know, we're looking at exercise and warding off dementia and Alzheimer's disease. So it's pretty powerful stuff.
Right, absolutely. And people who wear pedometers, they like seeing that number. You know, they want to try to get to that 10,000 steps a day, which isn't really hard to do.
No, and that's a great way to add fun into your day, or just like you were saying, break it up. You know, people laugh at me, but I always park further away so I can walk. I drive in 75 miles each way to work. So when I get there, you know, that's the first thing I want to do is get up and walk. So I park away, walk in, doing things like that.
If you're parking the closest to the building, you know people are going to give you a hard time when you're running the exercise science department, right, at the college.
Of course, of course.
Hey, I wanted to invite our listeners to call in and ask Dorene a question or share some information, share some tips on what works for you for exercise. And the first person to call in today is going to get a free copy of my book, 52 Simple Ways to Health. And the number is 866-823-1077. So
a free copy of the book? That's nice.
A free copy of the book.
Very nice.
Yes. And, you know, of course, has the chapters in there about exercise and making it fun.
Autograph, too?
Absolutely.
There you go. All right.
Yes,
so if you have a
that's going to be
question,
worth big money.
yeah,
Big money.
Really, a collector's item.
It's
a collector's item.
It's an excellent book.
It is.
you.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. You know, just have to read a chapter a day, which is easy to do.
Yes,
Right.
it is. Well, the chapters are 2 or 3 pages.
Yep.
You know, I wrote it specifically to be used as a tool. A very easy read. People can take less than 5 minutes a week, read a chapter, take that concept and incorporate it for the week. And so after a year, you would make significant improvements in your health and also be educated more on how every part of your life affects your health. It's about a lot more than diet and exercise.
52 Simple Ways to Health. A bestseller, an award winner.
There you go. Yeah, it is an award winner, which is very exciting.
That is.
Very
For
exciting.
your first book.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. I'm working on the second one. Who
There
knows
you-
when that'll be done? That's going to take a lot longer than the first one.
So if you have a question for Coach Carol or Dorene, give us a call right now, 1-866-823-1077. The first person to call in with a question will receive a free autographed copy of the award-winning 52 Simple Ways to Health.
You make me blush, Ken. So, Dorene, I wanted to ask you about the exercise science department expanding and the nutrition component.
Yes, we're so excited. Our program in the past 3 years has just exploded, and we're in a new space in the college. We actually also have a new student union with a fitness center, a group exercise studio, and a big multi-purpose room. So we have some nice facilities that we utilize.
It is beautiful there.
And with our, like I was saying, our focus of our program has really changed to focus on the client and getting our students really aware of the client's needs. And part of that for us, of course, is a nutrition component. Our students are dealing with people that are looking to lose weight as well as people looking to perform. So there's really differences in those populations in terms of their nutritional needs. So it's going to be very exciting to start this class under the exercise science realm.
And that's a really important point too, is that some people might think that you purely focus on elite athletes, but you don't. You're training people to work out in the field, to work with every age group, every population, because everybody needs to exercise. So people might go into those specialties, but for example, I didn't go that route to work with elite athletes. I ended up progressing more into all of health and wellness and working with all different ability levels.
Yeah, and it's wonderful because our faculty, we have an amazing faculty. So we have our adjunct faculty, Bob Cosmo. He has run personal training for large corporate fitness centers. So he's really our personal training guru and focused on that. Our new program coordinator, Courtney Rice, has a clinical background as well as herself being a wonderful athlete. So we have her background. We have Melanie Ludwig, who's a personal trainer here in Hooksett and owns her own business and comes from kind of that same background. And then we have myself, who does come from the athletic background, but people don't know I also worked in a hospital wellness center. So there, I have I'm the jack of all trades. I have a little bit of here, a little bit of there.
And when we come back from break, I want to talk more about the things that you've done in the past that brought you to where you are today.
Yeah.
All right, but before we take a break, we have a call. We have a call from Craig from Belmont, who will ask a question and get a copy of your book, 52 Simple Ways to Health,
Terrific.
Coach Carol. So, Craig, you're on with Carol and Dorene.
Hi, Craig.
Hi. I was calling in basically. I've recently started picking up cycling again, and it's kind of funny, like how you mentioned cholesterol. I found out my cholesterol wasn't doing as good as it used to. So in doing that, I've found out about a few apps that really help you track your progress and what you're doing. I'm not too sure if it's okay to mention apps or products online. Is that okay with you guys?
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. One app is Strava, and they've created like a community that you can compare how you're doing with other people in the area that are doing the same physical activities, like hiking or running or cycling. And it tracks all kinds of neat little things like your elevation, and it shows the routes. So if I wanted to do a route, say that one of you guys did, I could do that and compare the time to that. So I was just curious if you guys were using anything similar to that or knew of other products along those lines.
Dorene, go ahead.
Yes. Well, I'm not really totally into the technology because we focus a lot on kind of that individual progress and not so much where some of these apps you are motivated by competition. You're motivated by doing better against another person, which is fantastic. But we tend to, in our program, not utilize so much technology as it is more that personal touch with that. We do like them, though, because we definitely think that, especially this, you've picked a great exercise for your goal and what you need to do. So we like that you're able to track that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like you guys said, my schedule is very broken up, so I can't do things very regimented, but at least when I can, I can, I have something to compare it against, even though most of the other times are a lot better than mine, but it still gives me some kind of baseline,
Yeah, and, you talk about regimented, and I think sometimes people get too caught up in thinking that they have to come up with a day and a time, an amount of time that they exercise all the time. And then the second that gets disrupted, then, it becomes less and less down to zero. And there's always challenges in life. So just like with other things in your life, the time that you exercise, that needs to be flexible also. So, sometimes people think it's a negative thing when their exercise schedule isn't regimented, but I think that just goes along with the rest of our lives. And if we're more flexible with that, then we're less likely for it to fall off. So I don't think that's such a bad thing.
Well, in dealing with cholesterol, with a proper diet, is there a recommended minimal amount of time for exercise you would say weekly? Or would you recommend a minimal amount of time weekly for improving cholesterol?
Well, the body's meant to move every day. So, what I tell people is you need to focus on moving daily, even if it's not that, big workout that you have, you're going out and you're spending an hour or so. With cholesterol, it's very tricky with people with whether it's genetic or there are some foods that help people reduce their bad cholesterol. Other people, not so much. Everybody's so different. That's a really hard topic. But overall, obviously, the healthier you eat, the better your cholesterol is going to be. And exercise is huge for reducing the bad cholesterol.
Yeah. How about, do you guys know, is it just pretty much time that it would take to improve your good cholesterol?
What do you mean? You mean the amount of time you exercise?
Yeah. Does exercising also improve your good cholesterol or help in that department?
Yes. And what's tricky about cholesterol now is doctors are looking more at the balance. So somebody might, their bad cholesterol might be a little higher than the doctor wants. But if their good cholesterol is really, really good, then now they're recognizing that as possibly an offset. So they don't have to keep stressing about the bad cholesterol being a little bit high because their good cholesterol is so good that it offsets it. So they're looking more at the balance than hyper-focusing on one number and then the person constantly having to stress about that because the stress takes its toll too.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, all right. Well, thank you guys for taking the call.
Well, Craig, hold on. So J-Dog has your information, and we'll be able to get the book to you.
Okay.
Thanks, Craig.
Thank you for the call.
Yep, thank you.
All right. Some good information there. And you were both talking earlier that, everybody, and I'm guilty of this as well in the past when I started exercising and what have you. You think you have to get it all accomplished at once. And, start by doing as much as you possibly can. But if you do it incrementally, it works out much better in the end, I think.
Yeah. And, we've been brainwashed to think that if we're doing a little at a time and we're doing a good job, it's not enough.
Right. Yeah.
But it is because it's going to get that ball rolling. And it is so much better than none than saying, oh, I didn't do a great job today. The plan was to do a great job. So now I'm just going to get discouraged. Yeah. So don't get discouraged.
Yeah, I mean, if you miss a day or whatever, don't get discouraged.
That's right. It only takes 2 minutes of exercise to get back on track and to be going in the right direction.
There you go. Coach Carol?
Terrific. Dorene, can you give us your contact information at the college?
Sure. We are at Manchester Community College, which is right down here on Front Street. And our website where you can find more information on not only the exercise science program, but all our programs is www.mccnh.edu.
Terrific.
And if you want to contact us at the exercise science department, my phone number is 603 what is it? Oh, gosh, I can't remember my own office phone number because
you don't call yourself.
We'll give it to you next segment.
That's okay.
Oh, my gosh.
The number's on the website.
Funny. That's right.
The number's on the website. And, I have to say, I loved when I went to, back then it was the TAC, now at Manchester Community College, and I just loved it there. It was just so welcoming and so accommodating. And was working full time and going there part time, and I had many classes that were 5 to 10 p.m.
Oh, yes, I remember those.
Yeah, but as long as those days were, it was just such a nice place to be. It really was. So many great programs, so much great information, and just a lot of pride there, which is wonderful.
Yeah, our instructors and our faculty are amazing. They really focus, we're really student-centered, and they really focus on the students and the students' goals and helping them achieve those goals. We have students from all walks of life. I've had students in our exercise science program in their 60s. So, and we're in with a class with students that are 19 years old. So it's a really great mix of students.
Mm-hmm. That's terrific. So speaking of older, let's talk about
I didn't know 60s was older.
Yeah.
No, it's not that old.
That's young.
Yeah, that's right. Everything's relative. When we're all 80, right, we're going to think, well, 60, yeah, that was a long, long time ago. I was really young then. The importance of just even a moderate amount of exercise in people's lives, how it can greatly enable them to live a better quality of life as they get older.
Yeah, it's amazing. Just that little bit of exercise will do for your ability, like we were talking about, your ability to move. Not only move, but think as well, as we were talking about with how exercise has an effect on our brain activity. So it's amazing. We had a group come in for my physical activity and aging class, and this group, they actually worked with the exercise science students, and on Friday nights they come in and play pickleball. So for those who haven't seen pickleball, it's kind of like a mix between tennis and badminton. It's really cool. They use these hard paddles and almost like a wiffle ball, and they have a net like a volleyball net. And there are certain rules to the game as well. And I had them come into our class so they could show our students what it's like to be a little bit older and physically active. And we had a woman who was 86 years old playing with some of our young guys,
Wow.
They're in their 20s, and they're getting their butts kicked by this woman who was 86. So it was amazing. They were really amazed by the ability of these people to do what they were doing, because in this game you got to reach, you got to move forward, you got to think quick. So it actually, as we age, we tend to lose that quickness more than our aerobic capacity. We tend to lose our power. And most of the people go out and typically do a cardiovascular exercise, like you were saying, for a long period of time. When we can do a little bit of activity like this, playing that pickleball is more anaerobic, it's more agility oriented and speed oriented. So it will retain a lot of that we don't get with the cardiovascular type of exercise. So a little bit of that, having a little bit of fun playing a game like that is going to keep you mentally sharp as well as physically sharp.
Right. And so when people get older, they're going to be able to remain, driving their cars longer, doing their activities of daily living independently. They won't need help as soon. It's easy to think, well, people get older. Yeah, they need help. And of course, they're going to be doing less and less. But when you get to that age, you'd rather be able to stay independent as long as possible.
Yes.
So all the components of exercise, the balance and the flexibility, and, when people aren't exercising, then they can end up with the brittle bones, the osteoporosis. And, if, say they're outside and they slip on the ice, well, if they don't exercise, there's a much greater chance that when they slip, they're going to go down. As opposed to if they've been exercising and doing exercises that challenge their balance, then they slip, well, they might catch themselves. And then they just avoided a broken hip. And when people are older and they break their hip, it's usually the beginning of a downward spiral that they don't come back from.
Exactly. And I think with my students, we do a community service where we have two groups over at assisted living facilities. We have one group over at Cashin Senior Center over here in Manchester, where they really have an active group, about 18 participants in their program.
Oh, that's
and
a great class.
This class is actually going to roll over into what they call a national program called Bone Builders. And that'll be starting not next week, but the week after. And so that class, as you mentioned, osteoporosis, was really built on that fact of, adding in the resistance training and the balance training to help prevent falls and prevent something like osteoporosis from happening and the fractures that would happen if you did fall with that.
And for people who aren't familiar with it, one of the reasons why strength training is so important, besides it helps us stay independent, is when you work the muscles pull on the bone, and it tells the bone to get stronger. It's as simple as that. So if you're not exercising, then the bones start to deteriorate.
Yes, and the thing is, a lot of people do go out and walk, which is great for bone density, but just like you were saying, where that muscle pulls on the bone, we're going to get stronger in that area. So if we're just doing the same thing over and over and over again, we're only going to get strong in that one area. So we need to mix it up a little bit and change around what we're doing. And it doesn't have to be big change. It could be just walking up a hill versus walking on the flat ground.
Right.
Can make a difference.
Right. And even though walking is great, that's mostly lower body as far as the strength training. For cardio, it's wonderful. But for the strength training component, that's mostly lower body. So you want to be doing upper body things.
Exactly. And I think especially for women with osteoporosis, we want to focus on the spine, and we tend to be a little bit weaker in the upper body. So adding those upper body. And I think my students, when they go to a lot of these facilities, they realize, wow, these people can actually throw a ball and do some of those fun activities utilizing that upper body.
Right. Keep it fun.
Yes.
Keep it fun.
That's what we try to do every day here on the show. Keep it fun, right?
Keep it fun.
Right. And exercise during the show.
Exercise during the show. You should see what we've been doing here.
Yeah.
As you can tell, I can't sit in my seat. I got to be moving my hands all around.
Yeah.
Coach Carol Phillips is here. Do you have a quote for the day that you want to pass along?
I have a quote for the day.
Just, folks, don't buy tickets to a concert or anything that Carol has tickets to, because most likely it's going to be canceled or postponed.
So, long story short, I had tickets to Janet Jackson to go see Janet Jackson with my daughter, and it gets postponed. So we decide to get Wayne Brady tickets instead. And that just got canceled. So
I can't believe it, because Wayne Brady. I thought you were better off going to see Wayne Brady, because I think he's a great entertainer, and now I find out he's canceled.
They're all running from me.
Oh man,
yeah, it's funny. It's funny.
Just don't buy tickets to Brian Wilson at Meadowbrook, all right?
Oh, brother. So, Dorene, thank you so much for being with us today. I really, really appreciate it. Great information. Can you give us the website again?
Sure. Our website is www.mccnh.edu. And we actually, in 5 minutes, we're going to have an open house. So from 4 to 7 this evening, people can come on in, check out our facilities, and talk with professors and our faculty and staff about the different programs we have offer at the college.
That's great. People should definitely go down and check it out.
Of which there are
great
many,
place.
many programs. Great diversity, and so check it out today, 4 to 7. Manchester Community College on Front Street in the Queen City, not too far from that old radio station building that you see off the highway.
That's right.
That I can't mention.
That's right.
But it's there. I used to work there.
An old icon.
Yeah,
So
right.
here's my closing quote. Giving up on a goal because of a setback is like slashing your other 3 tires because you got a flat. Author unknown.
Author unknown. All right.
Incognito.
Words to live by. Dorene, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great to have you with us today. Great information. And Coach Carol, you'll be back with us in a couple of weeks.
A couple of weeks.
Yes.
Good seeing you as always, Ken.
Thank you very much. Great to see you. And we will see you soon. And have a couple of tacos instead. The big taco challenge is on here in downtown Manchester.
Yes. Happy Cinco de Mayo.
There you go.